A topic that most people don't discuss, mostly because they don't believe it, is worldwide monitoring. This is James from JC on Fire Ministry. If I could, please let me ask you to like and subscribe to this channel before we start. Now, the book of Revelation and some prophecy talks about an antichrist that comes to power in the end after a war. Now, we have a war going on right now, and it just so happens that I believe we are the last generation. We are the generation that will see Jesus come back, and there's going to be so many people that's not ready. But this Antichrist is going to be given power. Now, I've already discussed in a video before that the World Health Organization has just requested power over every nation to make decisions concerning health care. In case something like the pandemic happens again. Now, if you have ever paid attention to anything concerning health scares, worldwide health scares, anytime a pandemic has ever happened, notice this: they always talk about it before it happens. In other words, they know it's going to happen because they're planning it out. And it's slowly becoming a trend. Well, actually, it's actually becoming a very gradual, speedily trend for them to gain control. Now, most people don't know it, but the World Health Organization is actually part of the United Nations. And the United Nations is a group of nations that come together that make decisions for the world. That's right. And so if you're in the United States, or you're in a nation that's not even part of the United Nations, if you're not part of the European Union, the United Nations, you're just doing whatever they tell you to do. But here's the thing: the Antichrist will come to power, and he'll be ruler like a king, and he will sit on a throne controlling 10 nations. And the book of Revelation says that there was 10 nations in the end time that would be given power to rule, and 3 would be taken out of the picture and would leave 7, and yet the Antichrist would rise up, and he would have another nation. He would his kingdom would rise up, which would make 8. Now, it's very interesting that this is going to happen, because at this moment, I believe we have just enough nations gathered together in the United Nations. But guess what this is going to be? In the end, when it comes down to it, there's going to be 10 nations that are chosen, 10 kings, to govern all of it. So the United Nations that you know now, the European Union that you know now, it's not even going to exist, because the Antichrist is going to be given power. Now, each continent, what is there, like 7 continents? Each continent is going to have a ruler that will be appointed, and some countries will have one or more, just to be able to make the 10. And this is going to sound a little mumble jumble. This is not one of my strong topics, guys, so just bear with me. But the Antichrist will rule these nations, and it'll come out of the European Union, or the United Nations, should I say. Now, the United Nations was set up in the format of the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire is a European government that ruled with an iron scepter for hundreds of years. Almost 1,800 years, actually. Um, and they always had one. The ruler was in charge of all of it, the whole area. And a prime example that you have for the Holy Roman Empire was Constantine. Constantine, the Holy Roman Empire, it governed everything, even reached all the way into Africa, guys. I mean, it was everywhere. Parts of Europe, Asia Minor, some of your Middle Eastern countries, and it stretched all the way down into Africa. It dominated Israel and the Middle East. So just know that it was very large. Now, it is going to happen again, but it ain't going to be a Roman Empire. Although it will have the very same design of the Holy Roman Empire. The United Nations has just requested from the World Health Organization, the WHO, not the band, guys. I know, great band. But the World Health Organization just put in 300 amendment requests to control decisions for the whole world concerning healthcare. Now, we are in the middle of a war between Ukraine, Russia, NATO, the United States, China, Taiwan. I mean, there's so many irons in the fire right now. But we are in a world war. Most people don't see it as a world war because it's different nations against different nations. But when the whole world is at war, that's a world war. So, with the World Health Organization requesting to have this kind of power, it would literally give them the same kind of power the Holy Roman Empire had. They can reach into your country, into your nation. They can go right onto your continent and dominate with force. They can make decisions for your nation. If they wanted to lock you down, they could lock you down. That is in the United States they call that what do they call that? Man, I haven't used the word for a while. And the president is the only one who has the power right now in the United States to put the whole country on permanent or temporary lockdown. It's where you can't do nothing without permission. You can't go outside, you can't do nothing. You're just stuck there in your house. But the World Health Organization wouldn't only have the power to lock your country down, it would also have the power to dictate whether or not you are monitored for your health. They would keep a census of everybody who has gotten a vaccine, and they can force you to take a vaccine. They can make it mandatory. So anybody and everybody who says that they don't believe in this because it's the end time sign, of the mark of the beast and stuff, keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind because it's very true. That's how it's going to work. This is how it's going to work. Well, many people just give in because they use fear tactics to scare you into doing this stuff. One, it's either that or die, right? And they're going to tell you that you'll die if you don't take it. But the World Health Organization, ran by the United Nations, can literally, if given the power and ruled by the Antichrist, can implement or put into motion that you get an IDF chip that monitors your health, your vaccinations, your bank account, your social security card number, everything. Anything and everything that concerns you, they can put this chip in you and monitor everything you do. Now, if you do not do what the World Health Organization says in the end time, if they are given this power, the United Nations would give the power to either lock you up in prison, force you to take the chip, and folks, just a warning, they can authorize your execution for insubordination. If the United Nations is given control and power over the world, they will make the laws. They will make the rules. They will tell you what to do. And they will also have the power to decide who lives and who dies. This is written in the book of Revelation, guys, and in a couple other books in the Bible. This is not something that is just being spoken of by me. Now, I'm just trying to tell you what the Bible says and how this event that's going on right now matches perfectly. If the United Nations is given power, how it matches perfectly that we are there. But here's the good news. If you're a Christian, you won't be here. You'll get raptured out first. That is the belief that we as Christians have, is that you'll be raptured out. There's some that believe you'll go through at least half of it, half of the tribulation. Some believe that you'll be here through the whole one. Either way, you need to be prepared. But for the most part, I believe that the rapture is going to happen, and that God will spare his people, just like he did on Noah's Ark. Because Noah's Ark is an example of how the end is going to happen. He gives a warning, God spares his people, and the ones that are left behind are there to be judged and to be purged, basically. And that's how God's going to do. He's going to purge the earth. He's going to cleanse it. He's going to draw people to him. But you don't want to be there during the tribulation, guys, because the Antichrist is going to be ruthless. Not only will he be deceptive, I mean extremely deceptive. So deceptive that people are literally going to like cry out to him and be like, "You're God," you know. They're going to literally think that he's God. And he's going to claim to be God. He's going to be like, "Look, this guy that you guys have been talking about, you know, all these different beliefs. Well, I'm that guy. You know, put your faith in me. I'm your God." And so, yeah, it's just a warning, guys. If the World Health Organization is given the power to dictate anything and everything concerning healthcare worldwide because of a pandemic, all you need is the war to lead into that. And then they will be given the power, because it's already in a contract. If they're given the power to do it, all they got to do is sit back, wait for this war to bring about something. And believe it or not, a war is considered a pandemic. What does it say in the book of Revelation? It talks about how the world was so tired from the events of all of the killing and all of the war and the bloodshed and everything, and all of the famine and starvation that was going on, right? So they cried out for someone to help them, somebody to finally fix it. And well, that's what's going to happen. The World Health Organization is going to step in. The United Nations is going to set a man up in their office. He's going to make these decisions, and he's going to go out and he's going to conquer. He's going to rule the earth. And he's going to even go as far as making peace treaties with world leaders so that war stops, even with Israel. Now, I think personally it's going to be masked, you know, like a mask. It's going to be masked so that it looks like everybody's getting the same treatment. Israel, Middle Eastern countries, Africa, Europe, European nations, and China, Asian nations, because in order for it to be designed just right so that it's not focused centrally on Israel, because Satan doesn't want people to see that, he's going to make it look like everybody's getting the same treatment. Worldwide peace. But God wants us to focus on Israel because that's the centerpiece. When Israel is able to rebuild that third temple, and they're able to do their sacrifices again the way that they're supposed to, not the way they're doing it now, but the way they're supposed to, then you need to be scared. So I just want you guys think about what I said. World Health Organization is asking and requesting for power over the world. And at no time in history has anybody ever had this kind of power and authority over anyone. And that should scare you. This is JC on Fire Ministry. Until next time.